Hi, welcome to the monthly studio check-in. So this is a new series of videos that I'm going to be doing every month. Basically, I'm going to walk you through the income that I've received in my business for the month, my expenses for the month, and also how my health has impacted my ability to actually work within my business during that time. My name's Leanne. I'm a full-time artist and metalsmith with a business called Leanne Allison Designs. Now, I was a little bit nervous about making this very first video because my health has had a big impact on my business lately and things have not been going well. So the numbers that I've got for you are really low. But then I thought about it and I thought, that's probably a really great place to start. So if we can start at rock bottom, then I can hopefully each month start to climb and we can go on a bit of a journey. But also, I remembered that, what gets measured gets improved. So each time I am talking about this, I'm measuring it and hopefully the next month I can improve it. So honestly, I am a little bit embarrassed about these numbers. They're a little bit low, but I am still absolutely grateful for every cent that came in during the month of March 2026. But also, I just thought it was a great way to kind of have my health and my my income kind of go head to head, like a battle between the two of them, and we'll see which one comes out on top each month. We're hoping that income comes out on top each time, but it's also a good way for me to reflect on how things have been going health-wise and whether the appointments with my osteopath from the Melbourne Headache, Neck and Jaw Clinic are having a really positive impact or not. So we'll just see how things are improving. Okay, so everything that I talk about money-wise is in Australian dollars because I am in Melbourne in Australia. So I'll start with my income. Now, excuse me for looking down because I have my income and expenditure on Post-it notes. My income for the month of March 2026 was $558.09. Now that 9 cents is super important because every cent counts, and I am super grateful for every cent that did come in. Now of that, it's broken into two. There is money that I made within my business and then money that I made from an external source. So within my business, there are 3 different streams of income. The first one is a book that I wrote. So I wrote a children's book before Christmas. I wrote and illustrated it, and I sold a bunch of copies via Amazon in January. And I also got some physical copies, and I sold some of those during March. So I sold 3 physical copies of the book for $45. And then I got Amazon royalties from January of $32.59. So that is all just from my children's book. I then made $17.50 through Creek and Bay. Now, Creek and Bay is a shop that I have some of my products in. I have my pieces in there on commission, and when something sells, I just pay a commission on it, which is pretty awesome. And so $17.50, that will be some greeting cards that I sold. March is a bit of an odd month here in Australia, so to have sold greeting cards and nothing else is kind of not unexpected. But I'm just grateful to have made some income from Creek and Bay, which is great. And then the last lot of income came from Oak Hill Gallery Market. So that's where the majority of my business income came from for that month. And that was $258. Now, this market was a bit unusual. It was a beautiful day. It was mid-March, but there wasn't a lot of foot traffic and there weren't a lot of other stall holders either. So it meant that people came in and they could wander around and sort of see everything that was there and then not get confused, because as we know, a confused mind doesn't buy. When there are too many stalls, I think some people just get overwhelmed. It was much easier for people to come in and go, yep, okay, I know what I want. And also, the people that did come were there to spend. I think maybe at least every 4th person that came to my stall purchased something from me. So I had a steady stream of customers all day, and it turned out to be a great market considering the foot traffic was quite low. I made sales from, quite a number of the people that actually attended the market, which was great. So my total through my business was $353.09. Now, externally, I made another $205. So because my headaches are so unpredictable, I can't actually go out and work for somebody else. I have days where I can't get out of bed, stuff like that. I wake up with these headaches. Sometimes I'll be going okay, and then they will just hit me like a ton of bricks. So working for somebody else is very, very difficult. I call myself a feral cat. You know, people are happy to throw me a scrap here and there, but they don't want to bring me in. Because yeah, I haven't worked for somebody else for over 10 years. And also, you know, I'm so unpredictable. They just sort of don't know what they're going to get. So I get external work through a website called Askable. Here in Australia, Askable is, it's a place where people can go on and they can do market research. So I apply for different tasks, and if I'm accepted, sometimes I'll do a one-to-one with somebody and we might talk about a superannuation form that they've got, or it might be a chat about how I would use a payment processor or something like that. And then for my time, usually between 45 minutes and an hour, I would get somewhere between $45 and $60 for that particular one-on-one session. Then there are other smaller sessions that I can do where I might talk to an AI assistant or something like that, and just fill in a questionnaire, and I'll get maybe $5, $10, sometimes $15. And that might be for 5-10 minutes worth of work. So it's not something that I can make a living from. It just helps to top up my income when I am struggling. And because some of them are just, 5 minutes here, 10 minutes there, that's something that I can actually do throughout my day. Even if I'm not feeling well, I feel like I can get up and at least do an hour's worth of work and then go back to bed if I need to. So I made 205 through Askable. Now, it is really inconsistent. Last month was great. This month, I haven't had a single task accepted. So sometimes what happens is I'm just not the right demographic. Other times there might be lots and lots of applicants, and then they can really just pick and choose who they want. So I might just miss out based on the number of people. And then other times I might look at what's on there and nothing appeals to me, or sometimes there may be a lot that are aimed at parents and I'm not a parent, or aimed at dog owners and I don't have a dog. So things like that. So it's not something that I can rely on. It's just nice to have the extra. And for March, it was handy to have that extra. So now my expenses. I have become very frugal in my business because just knowing how unwell I can be, I didn't want to end up with a ton of expenses that I didn't know if I would be able to cover them each month. So I've whittled them down to as few as possible, and I try and sort of keep on top of them as best I can, because there have been some months where I've barely worked at all and have barely made any income. So these are the expenses. The first one is my Made It fee. Now, Made It is an Australian website that is a bit like Etsy, but it is way, way better. I will drop a link to my Made It store in the description for any Australians that are watching. I pay a $15 fee for, I think it's 100 listings. Now, I don't have 100 listings up at the moment, but I can have up to 100 listings. And then when I make a sale, I just pay a small fee. I think it's a fee for Stripe. And then, yeah, that's it. I'm not paying commission fees on these listings or listing fees. I just pay this one bulk fee to have my shop, which is great. So that's $15. And I also had $7.92 in Etsy fees. And I think that is just mostly from listing fees and things like that. It was very small, didn't make any sales at all during the month of March. Then I have Photoshop, which is $35.99. Now, I know people will come at me, why do you still have Photoshop? That's a lot of money to be spending, blah, blah, blah. Look, I like Photoshop. I've been using it for many years. I used it quite a bit in March, so I'm happy to hang on to it. Yes, there are other things out there that I could use that are either free or cheaper or whatever, but I am of the view that you either spend time or you spend money. And at the moment, I don't have the time to spend to learn a new platform. I am happy with Photoshop, so I'm happy to pay the fee that comes with it. I also have my Canva Pro, which is $27 a month. And remember, this is all Australian dollars. Again, I use Canva a lot. I used it a lot last month. I am working on some stuff this month and I'm using it a lot again. So that's something that I'm also happy to pay each month. I have my Google Workspace, which is where my emails are hosted. That's $25.96. And I went to Senior Art Supplies. So that's one of my art supply places. It's my favorite one. And I bought some watercolor paper. I got a 10% discount because I am a member at a local gallery. So I paid $18.88 for my watercolor paper. And then the big one for the month, which wouldn't normally be in there, was a payment to Oak Hill Gallery for $100. Now, I am doing an exhibition with them. I am exhibiting my artwork in one of their gallery rooms in August, and I am paying that particular fee off. So I made a $100 payment to Oak Hill Gallery. So my expenses for March were $230.75. So from the money that I made from my business, that was covered. But having the extra was handy because what I was able to do was pay these bills, put some money in the pot for April's bills, and have a little bit left over to put towards other things. Because at the moment, all of my health expenses are coming out of our household budget, which it's a bit tough. It's meant that, we sort of have to make sure that that money is there. And it's just having this little bit extra meant that I was able to put a little bit more towards it. Obviously, the more money I can make in my business, the better it is for me, because I'm then able to either contribute to the household expenses or to be able to pay my own medical bills, which would be really nice. So basically, I had $230.75 in expenses. So that gave me $327.34 left over. And as I said, that went into the pot ready for April's bills. And it also gave me just that little bit so that I could pay for some of my health related expenses. Now, my health for the month. What I want to do for April and going forward is to have a headache tracker and maybe some other sort of tracker. I generally just jot everything down in my diary, but it would be nice to have something that physical that I can show you so that you can see how things went. So basically, out of a month with 31 days, I had some form of headache for 26 of those days. So 26 out of 31 days, I had a headache. The only days that I didn't have a headache were the 27th, the 28th, the 29th, and the 30th of March. And that was 4 days in a row. I haven't gone 4 days in a row without a headache for a long time. Unfortunately, on the 31st, I absolutely crashed with a bad headache, and I've had that headache ever since. But obviously, that will be part of the April update. So of days with a headache, I think I had 4 days where my headache was really bad to the point where I could barely get out of bed. And then I had 3 other days where it was bad enough where I could get up, but then I went back to bed, and then I got up again, and then I went back to bed. And then the rest of the days, it was just a low niggly headache that was just in the back. So yeah, 26 days out of 31 where I had some form of headache. So that impacted my business in quite a big way. I was fortunate enough, like on Oak Hill Gallery Day, I had a pretty bad headache, but I pushed through because it was important to me to actually be there on that day. So, yeah. Oh, I've just realized I didn't add square fees in from the gallery market, but most of my sales that day were cash, so the square fees wouldn't have been too much. There we go, off on a tangent. But yeah, so that's how much my health can impact what I do. I was fortunate enough that some of the money that came in through like royalties, which was something that I'd done back in January, and then Creek and Bay, which I had already obviously dropped products off at the store. So now it was just a case of waiting for the sales to roll in and for me to get paid my my commissions. So unfortunately, it looks like health won the head-to-head battle against income. Now, I am super grateful for all of the money that came in during the month of March. I really do need to do some work on coming up with different income streams, ones that are not reliant on me being physically present for, you know, every little bit. I realized sort of over the last few months that because I am product based, I had created that belief that if I'm not physically making, then I'm not earning. And that was kind of the case for a while. So it's great to be able to have those little income streams sort of off to the side there where, you know, I've done all the hard work up front, and then, you know, things like the Amazon royalties and also having designs in Creek and Bay and stuff like that. So I really need to work on getting more of that happening, especially to sort of get me through this period where I'm having the headache treatment and I'm also having this dental work done. That brings us to the end of another video. I hope you enjoyed this. It was just something that I decided to do, a bit of a spur of the moment thing, but I'm going to do it each month as things progress. Hopefully we can see the income well outweigh the health issues. But for the moment, yeah, the healthy issues are just nudging ahead. It would be nice to finally see a month where they're even, and then, yeah, see the income start to pull ahead, which would be great. Okay. I will see you for another artist diary soon. I've got a few things on the boil at the moment, so I promise I will let you see some behind the scenes stuff. I know that I need to get a lot of other things done. I've got artwork like this piece here that needs to go up onto Blue Thumb. I've got some greeting card designs that I need to work on. So there are lots of little bits and pieces. But yeah, I promise I will be back again at the start of May with an update on the income for April. So thanks for joining me for this very first monthly studio check-in, and I will see you in the next video. Bye for now.